You could not. I should get a thing because my arm is going to get tired. It's fine, people. Hello, everybody. I tried to record. Hopefully you saw the video. Hopefully you saw my post. My post hopefully brought you in here so you get a bit of context as to why I'm going live right now. Maybe you just want to join in on the conversation. Maybe you just want to look at me. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the room. Welcome to the collective. Hello, hello, hello. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. First of all, the people, once I watch your video, people get on here and say all sorts of things. And that's fine, because I get on here and say all sorts of things. But sometimes these podcasts with these men get on here with these perspectives and these ideas, and everybody's entitled to their own perspective and their own idea. Happy hump day, my love. Everybody gets there. Did you see the video? Or you just jump it in because you got a notification? Because hopefully people see the video, like I've been seeing. They post a video like, I'm going live right now, or whatever. Either way, everybody's entitled to come on here. But it's, like I just said yesterday, people get on here, people will say one thing, and then it just encourages people to get on and share their opinions in agreement with maybe an idea that is very controversial or just their own experience. And I wanted to just do a video that said what I felt, but it was in the damn stitch. You can't edit the video. Hey, Stace, in the stitch, you can't do the video. You can't edit the video, so I'm just recording, and I'm just like, let me just go live about it. Let me see what the people have to say about it. And hopefully it draws people, because I think it's an interesting conversation piece. We're just going to talk about that, hang out a little bit. But the guy with the two different haircuts, I can't trust nobody with the fade and the damn dreads either, because you got to pick one and live your life. But whatever. That's a separate situation. But he says, it's a short thing. It's crazy that a woman can expect a man to emulate her father, but a man can't emulate. It's wrong for a man to emulate. It's wrong for a man. I'm getting fucked up in the words. It's wrong for a man to expect his woman to emulate his mother. That's the statement. Let me say it one more time to clear it up. He says it's crazy to him that a woman can expect a man to emulate her father, but a man can't expect a woman to emulate his mother. That's the statement. And that's what got me. First of all, because he just says crazy. I'm not going to use the M word to describe him, because I don't know that man like that, or even from like the first two videos I've ever seen of him, his standpoint, I really don't even pay attention, because I don't agree. But that's me. But to that question, that level of understanding, or that expectation, that or that idea that a man can't expect a woman to be his mother, but a woman can expect a man to be her father. This is where I'm coming from with that. I do like Wale. This is today's topic. Jump down in the comments. Let's see what the people have to say. There's not much context. It's like a 15-second thing. So that's not like, okay, this is the relationship. This is, people are married, this sort of thing. But usually when that's the context, it's like the woman is coming from, if she expects a man to be her father, she's coming from a two-parent household, with overall positive experience, right? Because then it can go so many different ways. Because ultimately, however you're raised, whoever your parents are, you expect, and project, my God, today, whatever your experiences were growing up. So if your father is abusive, you some level agree, expect, accept, and whatever, that sort of thing. And if your father was great and provided, you accept and project, you know what I'm saying? Those types of things, because that's how you were raised. Okay? But I don't want to go. That's why I couldn't do the video, because it's just so many different ways to take it. But let's just try to boil that down. Two-parent household, the father works his shifts, he provides the insurance, he provides the care, he does the things society says a man should do in a family. He does that, okay? As opposed to a man who grows up in a single-parent household, and that's the mother. And now the mother not only is just cooking and cleaning that a woman should do in a relationship, or what men expect a woman to do in a relationship. She is providing and shuffling and juggling to make sure everything is fine. To make sure everything... Hold on, you guys. Hold on, you guys. Gotta make sure we right for the camera. Okay, I just jumped right on. Either way, he's expecting a woman to jump through hoops, a woman to doing more than what she needs to do that is required of her if she were in a partnership and parenting and providing for her kids. There's nothing wrong with both, but you have to boil that down. There's nothing wrong with a woman expecting a man to be a provider, to be a breadwinner, and to be responsible. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And a man expecting it from his woman to be his mother. There's nothing wrong with the man expecting or wanting a woman that cooks and cleans. And I don't know. That's where I'm at. Like running around and everything. Because as a single mother, you're constantly on the go. You're constantly thinking. You're trying to make sure everything is right. If everything is where it needs to be. Because even still, you know, this is why I couldn't do the video. Because there's so many ways that parents parent in the experience. But I'm just trying to think of more so positive and responsible wise. Hopefully you are with me. You can stick with me. There's nothing wrong with him wanting the woman to cook and clean, because there's somebody like that out there for everybody, you know, so that's that. But if my father provided and was responsible, we didn't want for anything, I'm not going to settle for a man. You shouldn't settle for a man or a woman, because that's the thing too. Everybody likes everybody, so there's a space, there's room and conversation for everybody. But I'm not going to settle for a man that's not providing those types of, providing me with that experience or that lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with that. And a man shouldn't be intimidated by a woman that is wants those types of experiences or expects that from a man. Because honestly, that only makes him a better man. Also, too, that really shows his level of intention and passion and how much, you know, how much care he has for her if he follows through with those things. Not just because of her. He's encouraged to do those things because he cares for her. But I think as a man, to be responsible and engaging and things like that, not just, oh, cook and clean my food as a woman, which a man who was raised by a single mother is more inclined to expect, because that's what she does to make sure, whether she's overcompensating with meals or things like that. And I think that's really what it boils down to. A single mother usually overcompensates, let's say, speaking positively, overcompensates for the lack of, as opposed to a father who just provides because that's what's necessary. That's that. No, a man don't need to spoil in a way that the woman may be used to with the father being there, but don't you want to spoil somebody that you care about? See, there's so many different layers to this. And a man shouldn't expect every woman to rub his back and head to sleep because that's what his mother did. But there's a woman out there that'll do that, you know? So first, I guess it all boils down to you needing to find somebody that you are compatible with in those regards, because there's some women who were raised by their mothers and seen their mothers do things like that, so they're inclined to do things like that to a man. And there are men who are raised by fathers or mothers to be responsible, respectable, and provide for women or for themselves. And, a woman will respond to that. So it all depends on that. But I don't think you should expect anybody, man or woman, to meet a home raised need or fill that void once you become an adult and your mother can't rub your back in your head anymore. You know what I mean? Anymore. And a father who provides dare I say a good father is priceless. Good men, period, are needed, required, and essential to become a well-rounded individual. Women women do a lot, and I am a believer that God is a woman, and I encourage women all the time. I am of that pillar that is of my perspective. But because women do everything, I need a man. I need a good man that's gonna come in here and put it all together. Share the load, do what he needs to do in that family. Because there are women who are the breadwinner, and there are men who are stay-at-home dads, and there are men who are emotionally adept and things like that. But you shouldn't want I think as you grow, now people want to do 50-50. And 50-50 is all right. If you can identify who you are, what your expectations are in a relationship, and do that. I also say all the time, like every relationship, there's no standard way of being in a relationship. There's no mode. Yeah, you guys want to make money. Yes, you guys want to be on the same page. And yes, you want to have fun. But there's no exact guideline to meet those requirements. You have to find what is comfortable or what works for you. That's not comparing your woman to your man, to your father. That's not comparing your woman to your mother. And that's not comparing your man to your father. But if I was raised where my dad we was good because my dad did what needed to be done with my mother together, I'm not open to trying to make you, pulling that best out of you, or settling with what you're comfortable with. Because I come from a 50-50 parent household, and I do come from a 50-50 parent household where this was a situation, this is what was done. Loads were shared, reprimands were shared, that sort of thing. When I look for a partner, the way I was raised would identify better with somebody who was familiar with the experience that I had growing up. So I'm not saying that's good or bad when, the man and the woman, and the woman and the man, but you have to find somebody like that. You can't expect everybody. I can't expect everybody. If you come from a single family home, my experience is not your experience alone. 2 different households you go into, 2 different holidays, 2 different birthdays, however that split experience was for you is different. And if I am not the open person, outlook individual that I am, I wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't even be open to identifying or accepting that, because that's not what I'm used to. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to go and find somebody who that works with, or somebody that you identify with, somebody that you're equally yoked with. Like I said, the man who comes from the mother who rubbed his back and things like that because she was his only child and she edified him and things like that, which I don't think is healthy for a well-rounded human being. But there's a woman out there that'll do that. But now, are you even dating your mother? And do you only love that woman because of this? Do you love the woman for who she is, or for what the woman does for you that you're familiar with? That's the problem with a man expecting a woman to be his mother. I guess the same thing goes for a woman, because, do you want the provider and things like that? But I think she'll only love him more. And now we're not talking like sugar daddy type thing. We're talking about doing what is responsible, with doing what is necessary to be a functioning human being in the world. Me rubbing your back to sleep because that's what your mother did doesn't make me or you a better human being. But us working together to be self-sufficient and care for, be responsible in our homes, that benefits the both of us. No, it's not easy, but it's a lot easier than doing it by yourself. It's not. It's none of it. At no point is it easy to do it by yourself. I've seen friends. I've seen friends do it. I've I've witnessed friends who come from different, two parent households, or single family households and things like that. And no, I don't think, coming from a single parent household, I don't think there's nothing. Oh, maybe if anything you take away from that, isn't it that everybody's doing what they need to do, is being responsible, the hustle and things like that. But even still, you get into this fight or flight mentality that you can't even relax, because you were raised, it's instilled in you to go, hustle, 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 because everything relies on you. When in the world, you could simply get into a relationship and then you share this load, but then you can't even understand how to be comfortable in that because you're raised a different type of way, Single parent household. Ugh, I don't want to say anything too polarizing, but the experience leads for the lifestyle. If you if you if you see your father too, but so let's say, bad wise, you raised by the father, or let's say the opposite. Even still, a woman raised by a man is not a woman raised by a woman. She thinks differently. She might be more masculine. It's things like that that happen while you're being raised, that influence your expectations, or what you even would take on as you get older. But from what I've seen in his other videos, that's what he wants, somebody, a woman that's gonna, and that's the thing about 50-50. But you want a woman that's gonna go work the 9 to 5 job, cook you meals, rub your back, cook, you know what I'm saying, and clean the house. Like, that's not a, that's not a fair expectation of a woman. Because then what are you doing? Why you okay? So you go and you kick back and you pay the bills or whatever. Hopefully you're doing that to even qualify for the back rub and the dinner. But it's not all on one woman, and that's the thing about a 2 parent household sharing that load. It's not all on the woman to do 75% of the things that keep the house in order, and you do this other 25%, and you think your 25% is 100% what keeps things in line. That's not fair. And alternately, no, it's not fair for a woman to think a man should do 75% of the work and she only does 25% of whatever that may be. Whether, I don't know, whether she does the work, whether she works. Hello, Kelly, welcome. Whether she does the work and comes home and she doesn't cook, clean, or anything like that. Like, it's about the balance. It's about the balance. I don't think he was coming from more of a balanced place, because I think it's crazy that a woman can expect a man to be her dad, but a man can't expect his woman to be his mother. I guess the question would be, what is it about your mother that you want your woman to emulate? That would be the question. What is it that your mother did that you want me to do? Or what is it your mother did that I'm not doing? Hello, Governor. What is that? That would be the question. Well, that would be the thing to make it all make sense. That's the thing. Be passive to their BS. Give them the okay. Don't check them. Don't push them. Because I tell my single mother friends, you got to push your sons to one, to be independent, and to work harder. You have to be more aware. You got to pay more attention. You got to put in a little bit more effort. Because if I sit here and do all these things for you or give you the okay, you're going to expect that. I mean, that's just a general lesson in childbearing at all. At Dr. Heavenly and Toya. Explain, Rashawn Flowers. I'm hyper aware of just parent-child dynamics in general. Just for me, being me, gay, homosexual, and stuff like that, and just relationships with parents, with my friends, or even other kids, other people with their parents. And that's, like I said, that's my experience. But because my parents have been together, I look at the nuances of their relationship that have created the characters that me and my siblings are, and also in the people that I've come across, the people that I've dated, or that's what that does is how I perceive relationships that my friends, or the relationships that my friends are in, or relationships that I've been in. They work because of this, they didn't work because of that sort of thing. I was raised in Chicago. Right. All right, we get to talk. Please. This is a safe space. I came on here to engage, so please come on and get in the comments, and let me see what y'all saying and how y'all feel about that. If you're coming in from the video, or if you're just catching the content of the conversation. Okay, let me go, because Rayshawn said Heavenly and Toya. So I'm gonna go with Rayshawn first. And yes, Toya, because Toya is a stay-at-home mom, and Heavenly is not so much an equal partner, but Heavenly is a working mother. What Heavenly does, I think, was the only thing different Heavenly does than Toya is Heavenly balances everything. I think, they only show really the good parts of Heavenly. We don't know exactly, or if I could analyze it, Heavenly may overcompensate as a mother, because she does that whole, oh yeah, daddy, and my baby to Alora and the sons, and she may overcompensate because she's a working mother, and she also is all about Damon. I need to get a thing because I'm about to cramp my hand up laying here. She, compensates with Damon, so the kids may not get all of her valuable attention, and in turn, she goes out of her way to make sure that they're seen, heard, and stuff like that, and maybe lets them get away with a lot, as opposed to Toya, who is present, keeps the sons in check. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Everybody's experience is different as far as when it comes to the rearing that they experience in childhood. But let's say Heavenly Sons will expect a woman to overlook and give them the okay. Meanwhile, Toya's sons will expect a woman to be on their ass, to encourage, because I'm sure Toya's encouraged. Listen, I think they're all pretty good mothers, because it's, they all got a decent relationship with their kids. But that right there, those two experiences raise two different types of sons, And Alora, speaking of a girl who's going to expect their dad, a man to be their father, yeah, I'm expecting my dad to be compassionate, kind, not be physical. You know what I mean? As opposed to Toya, she might have sons that would be okay with the woman hitting them. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Now, blur perfection, because I'm trying to respond to everybody. We're trying to get the conversation going here, so I'm trying to respond to everybody. Blur said I was raised in two parents, but hyper of how men treat women. My grandma's mother, yeah, roll out the red carpet. Yeah, that's what I don't like. Because she rolled out the red carpet, I don't think that qualifies her as a good mother. That's more of a disservice. Because when you get out in the real world, people, the red carpet ain't rolled out for you. Unless you find yourself always in situations where you think the red carpet will be rolled out. But are you even capable of experiencing a situation where the carpet is not rolled out? How do you respond in that? But notice their sons didn't really reciprocate that love. We should date men that are doing what a man should do to protect everybody. Men are people of service that take care of the actual manual labors in life. Women take care of the nurturing things. And that's what I'm saying too. The experience is not the same. Society says men should act one way and women should be another way. But in a situation where a man is, let's say, is a stay-at-home dad, and a woman, let's say Oprah and Stedman, but even Stedman works. But let's look at that, who Oprah is the dominant figure in that family. If Oprah, and let's say they had kids, hypothetically speaking, they got kids, and Stedman was more of a stay-at-home type because Oprah was doing the things. If that's what Stedman liked to do, and Stedman is more compassionate, because we need to teach the skills. It don't matter where it comes from, but we need to teach them. We need to teach compassion, love, respect. The woman is not responsible always. She should not be held responsible for teaching the child solely love, respect, and compassion. And the man is to teach a child, hard labor or, whatever those types of things is. That's not fair to the people that don't live by that structure. We just need to teach it, and the kids will get it, because men are out here that are not hell-bent on being alpha male. They're happy being a beta male. You know what I'm saying? And there are women out here who are alpha females, and they have no place or have no intentions on letting anybody know that they're not. And there are women out here who are beta females and want to play the traditionalist roles and things like that. And that's fine. That's why it's important to find the person that works for you. But when it comes to the kids, it's not about the dad should be the one. If the woman was out there cutting grass and things like that, he would still know how to cut grass. And if the man is the one cooking dinners, she'd still know this is how I make a meal. Let me just kind of go through. We should date men. Okay, yeah, so true. I don't know. I'm just going and I'm talking, so I don't know what y'all might be agreeing to. Bear with me. I say that because as a woman who supports a man cooks, I found that men have still stepped out. Well, let me tell you this. Cheating don't have nothing to do. Cheating has everything to do with how somebody was raised. Not so much in what you're doing, but also I think somebody who's cheating, we can get into this too, but somebody who's cheating, it just lacks the common respect or even any type of romantic level in the individual. Because if you're cheating on me, like I said, there's ultimately something wrong. So that's how you thought things were okay that way. But also too, whatever you're looking for, I'm not fulfilling that. So set me free. If they were raised in gender-based living, I say, okay. And with a woman, that's not necessarily like their mother, like they are asking for abortion. That happened before. My father was. Y'all keep up in the comments. I'm trying to keep up and then comment. My father was not there, but my uncles were, and I have expectations of men because of that. Absolutely. The expectation, I'm reading Plechette. She said my father was not there, but my uncles were, and I have expectations of men because of that. The thing to take away from that, and like I said, this is me, is that if a man want to, he will. And if a man is raised in a responsible way, in a way that teaches him to take care of his responsibilities or take care of the family in general, that's something to look for in men. No, I don't need you to be my uncles, but I'm expecting you to take care of your responsibilities. I'm expecting you to take care of the family. And that's, that's that sort of thing. And that, I mean, we're in a world now. Plechette also said the women in my family tend to the men the way we were expected to, and that's how we seen it done. There's nothing wrong with making your man's plate, but at the same time too, I don't want to be in a relationship where the man ain't gonna make my plate, because it's a two-way street. Take care of me, I take care of you. But that's me. Like I said, there are women and there are men who really, live the traditional roles. They're traditionalists. And that's just how they want things done. And you can't be new age and be with the traditionalists. That don't work at all. And also, too, ultimately, you just shouldn't, like I said, the woman can be out there cutting the grass and the men can be in there cooking. You shouldn't raise your kids. I'm not saying because I don't have no kids. But as you're doing a disservice if you're raising your kids, the woman should make your plates and do the things. No, because open the door as a gentleman, pull out my chair as a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, she's going to make your plate, but are you going to pull out her chair? Yeah, she's going to cook your meals, but will you take her to dinner? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a present father, and that's if y'all know that, or like my love in here said, her uncles came through and did things like that. A man, period, and that's the thing about women and men, because when a woman is not present, the child may lack, and when a man is not present, the child does lack. When a man is present, it's more. I don't want to say it because it's both great. But it does a great help when the father, a male figure, is present. Just because I think outlooks, or even, the demeanor, men may be more strict and not tolerant. And also, too, let me tell you this, as an uncle and a godfather, that the voice alone, the voice alone of a present male is game changing. Cutting grass is forever. Enjoys the garden. Role reversal, and this all societal constructs and putting labels on things. I'm with the man who keeps the house clean and gets the children and gets the homework done, and I go out and I make the damn money. And now that's not a conventional relationship that somebody else may not understand or agree with, but it works for us. And you're with the man who works all day and you stay home and you look pretty and he cooks and cleans. He just wants you to rub his back and run his bath water. If that works for them, that works for them. But I think coming from the video is that I'm working with a functional relationship, for all intents and purposes, a functional relationship where the parents are working together and they have provided me these things, as opposed to your kind of dysfunctional situation where you expect me to break my back for you because that's what you're used to. I have male friends tell me sometimes it doesn't matter what women do, they still cheat. 100%. If a man is cheating on you, honey, you got to go somewhere else. At least, or cheat too, because something is all not there. At least what needs to be there is not readily present. And at the very least, you need to be so attracted to me that you shouldn't even be thinking about anybody else. Hold on, maybe the camera's a little dirty. That didn't really change much. But yeah, that's how I feel about cheating. People only treat you the way you allow. Yes. You have to be able to walk away and choose you 100%. Be careful that you out at a function in traditional chick making their men play. And there's nothing wrong. There's there's nothing wrong with that. But hopefully when y'all get to the car, he didn't open up the door. Or, you know what I'm saying, he reciprocates in whatever ways that, the woman likes, lay her out on the bed, you know what I'm saying, that sort of thing, in a way that's catering to her. She can't be out there making the plate and sucking the dicks and folding the clothes. But if that's what works for her, that's them. But that's not, I don't think a woman should raise her daughter and be like, make sure you make his plate, and then you got to suck his dick, and then you got to clean the house. No. Absolutely not. And you shouldn't raise your sons to be like, she's going to rub your back, and then she's going to suck your dick, and then she's going to make your plate, and then no. Absolutely not. Now I'm gonna make that's the thing about me. Hold on, let me put my titties on. I'm gonna make my man's plate, and then it's all reciprocal. And I would, he can make my plate, or take me somewhere where somebody make a plate for me. Yeah, better. Yeah, exactly. Natasha make his plate and his lunch, and he'll do the same. And that's the thing about men. A lot is simpler. Yeah, women are. Yeah. And you know why women are so stubborn? Because they have the ability. I think Dame Dash, but I've said that too. It's just like, how is God a man and a woman brings life? The world wouldn't be even a world to control by men if it weren't for women. And yet women always get the short end of the stick, or made to be gaslit against, just for, an expectation. Like I said, if a woman expects a man to do the basics, bring the work, money, provide, be a partner, that only creates a man to be better. It only pushes a man to want more, be better, continue to grow in a relationship. It alternately, a woman who just is cooking and cleaning at home for a man that probably is just doing the bare minimum. Ain't nobody better in this thing. Yes. See, now if you got a housekeeper and you single, I mean, you can find. But that's the thing. It's hard. It's usually harder to find a man. There's a lot of legwork and frog kissing to find a man that can meet up to a standard of living that a woman sets for herself. Men, because women have higher expectations and require more, especially if they were conditioned to live that type of way. And a man who's a lot simpler, that sort of thing. That's what I'm saying. A woman that might she's gonna push you, encourage you to at least be better, because you could walk away from that and be like, okay, I know I got to hustle. I like having this type of money. I like having this sort of thing, this type of experience. Now, a woman to put you on the finer things and stuff like that. And a woman who's just catering to a man is just like, well, now she can know how to cook and clean. She done mastered her recipes for the next man. Juju, thank you for the share. First of all, I got 5 shares. Thank you, guys. I need to get the thing. All of my own, so you need to be on it. And that's the thing about it. And that's just where we're at now. I think is women have the ability. Women are not required to, thank you for the share. Women are not required to stay at home, have all the kids, cook all the meals, fold and wash all the clothes. First of all, you can't do that. It's expensive. You get a rent, car, groceries. I have to pay for all these things. And I'm not going to be in a relationship, speaking from the woman's perspective, doing all these things, childcare, housekeeping, maintenance, chefing, and there's nothing coming on the other side. And that's what I'm saying about if a woman is doing all those things as a single mother, the work that she puts in, and subsequently the image that she instills in her children, because, the same thing what happened to her daughters too. It's like, I feel like I need to do. Or the woman feels like a daughter growing up around a mother like that is like, I'm only looking for a man that can afford me the lifestyle that my mother didn't. So it would have the alternate effect possibly on the girls too, which is not fair because that's not realistic, because that's not your experience. You're looking for a man out of desperation not to experience something before, experience something that you've had before. And you don't you don't have kids. And that's the same. Not having kids is the same thing as like growing up in a two-parent household. If I don't have kids, then I'm not open. I respect you being a parent, but I don't have the limitations. I don't want to be like, okay, I'm ready to go on vacation and be like, well, I gotta do the kids, got the recital and the dot. The factor in me even considering going a long term with you because you have these, and that's okay because that's about preference. All of it is about preference. Like I said, there's somebody for everybody, and somebody gonna do everything that you're not gonna want to do, or that you are not open to doing. Somebody out there that's gonna do that. But that's a matter of preference. But if I don't got no kids, I'm not looking for nobody bound by kids. And listen, Flechette, I am the same way because single, figuring things out, knowing what works, knowing what don't work, looking at analyzing and things like that. And lots of times, I could have done this. I don't have enough. We got to subscribe. Go on and subscribe. And then we can have private conversations. It'd be a bit more intimate. But, self-reflection, especially if you do it healthy, it's like, nobody should settle. Sex, you could get sex anywhere. And then, as we just discussed, you could do anything you want for a man, because women be out here cheating too, but you could do anything you want for a man. That needs to be done, or feel like that, it's going to keep him and still be, philandering. So sex is not everything. Sex is really minuscule when it comes to the partnership and the respect that is required to be in a healthy relationship. And the more time you spend alone, and the more time you spend analyzing other relationships, you see kind of the sacrifices that people make just for the sake of saying, oh, I have this person. Well, bullshit, there's a man out there that's gonna do that. But like Carrie and Big, Carrie wanted until Miranda told her, it's like, you want to at least have some type of ownership in it, because you will function differently when you have a stake in it as well. But that's like, all of this is, everybody's individual experience. But there's a man, but I've said this before. Actually, I was saying it to a friend of mine. When you get a man who's in control of the money, then you live by the man's rules with the money, or you're with a man with money, and what are you walking over him? And now there's really no romance, because you're not romantic with no man you walking all over. That could be on the title, not the loan. all those things. is you have to find somebody, I mean, that works for you. I get, listen. I say this all the time. There's no relationships that I see that it's like, oh well, I sure wish I had me a relationship like that. And when it comes to my parents, it's like, okay, this is what we did to keep food, shelter, clothing, that sort of thing. Um, so it's about responsibility and respecting your partner. But don't expect everything to be so one-sided. And you shouldn't raise your kids with the expectation that things will be one-sided, or to expect so much from one person because that's what a woman does or because that's what a man does. And that's the thing. Um, let's say, like, okay, let's say Heavenly's kids, since somebody brought up Heavenly and Toya. Heavenly's sons, Alora not going to be looking for nobody to take care of her, right? Because she was raised by a mother who got out here and got to it. Heavenly's sons is either going to respect the woman for being a hustler, go-getter, because that's what their mother was, or they're going to be looking for somebody who's not so go that'll be a little bit calmer, maybe in a more traditional role, because my mother was always going, I prefer somebody who's a little bit more relaxed, not somebody who's going to do everything for me, but they might too. She got two sons, but because Heavenly was that type of mother, they'll either respect the woman that's hustling or want somebody to do the things that their mother didn't do. Say Heavenly didn't tuck them in at night, and Heavenly didn't make meals, so they'll want somebody to sleep with, and they'll want somebody to cook them dinner. You know what I mean? On the other hand, like I said, they could be fine with working in a relationship where the woman is working, 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 and she comes home and they're like ships passing the night, and that's something they're fine. Because whatever, if they have a bond, I think that, I don't know. I could speculate, like I said, just the bond between Heavenly and Damon. I feel like they would all look for that. You know what I mean? I want, and that's the perception is that it's healthy. They respect each other. They balance each other out. I would think that that's what their kids would look for because that's how they were raised. Because turmoil and combativeness and things like that, then you project in your relationships, and you expect that in your situationships because that's what you were raised in. So it would work. My assumption is that that would be an option as well. But I think Heavenly, even with Damon, you cook, you clean, you be responsible, gentleman. You be a fucking gentleman. Period. Be a responsible human being and be a gentleman to the people that you encounter, and that's just across the board. Well, fine watching it. The wife take care of everything. As long as he's not, because like I said, if he's a stay-at-home dad and he's a stay-at-home dad and he raised the kids to be great and that sort of thing. And that's the thing too. In the right situations, men will be open to the structure of it, especially if they come from the dysfunction. But like I said, there are women out here who are alpha, and they don't want to sit and have a million kids. They don't want to be home cooking and cleaning. They're out here taking care of business and mixing and mingling and jingling beat and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. She'll have a harder time settling down with another man who thinks he's an alpha because he wants probably somebody who's more submissive, a damsel in distress. And that's also easier to handle. I've considered this over the years. It's more, that's a psychological thing. If her demeanor and her behavior is familiar, then I know how to handle that. But if I don't know what her next move may be, and she doesn't, um she's not even close to my expectations of what a woman is, then I'm not sure how to handle that. And then I'll have to cheat. Then now I'm doing dumb things, or I'm getting loud, or want to get aggressive and abusive, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how to handle this exactly. And that's yeah. 100%. Well, and that Plachette saying, hard time asking for help. There's a beta male out there that is, he just is not even, I've said this before, being alphas, being sure of yourself and knowing what you want is intimidating, because that is a presence that people don't, at least on like a common level. I mean, you go to a bar, you go to a place, you go to another state where that is a dynamic between men and women, or men have that expectation of women. Let's say like DC, for example. You go to DC, I'm just saying, people on like a political level, so women are, you know what I'm saying, in politics and function and things like that. They're more inclined, or Vegas, inclined to a woman that's more direct, intentional, and aware, self-aware. So their approach, and they're used to women like that, so they have the ability to approach. But on a local level, sometimes the men are not, like I said, aren't familiar, so they're intimidated, and they don't know how to approach. So 9 times out of 10, the men that will be perfect for us, because of the alpha in us, or the self-awareness in us, is scared to approach. We probably have to walk up to them, spark conversation, ease the tension, break the ice, because they're intimidated. And like I said in that same conversation, I'd rather be with a man who's intimidated by me than a man who thinks he can get over on me. No, we don't need the competition. We need to be partners. And that's the thing. If we can only be partners because I'm submissive, then first of all, that leaves me no room for growth, and I should continue to grow. And that's how you shouldn't fall out of love with your partner, because as they continue to develop, I love the way they develop. I love the way their mindset shifted. I love the way, you know what I'm saying, they grew into this. I love the way they took hold of their job. I love the way, that sort of thing. But if you only love me for cooking and cleaning, and I'm not allowed to do anything else, then you don't love me. You love what I do for you. Slave. I love the way he leaves for work. No, you definitely can't be in a relationship with somebody who thinks they're in competition with you. You can't be in a relationship with somebody who always wants to get over on you. Um, and that's the thing too, Holly. Balance, and that's just being an individual. Everybody needs time, but also that's being an individual. There are people who need the me time, just want the time for themselves or whatever, and there's people who want somebody always around. And that's the upbringing, and just, I think, like, that's just your past experience and what you've become accustomed to. No, he did his resume, Lord Jesus. Now he really thought you was too smart. Mm-mm. And that's the thing. I mean, those are red flags. And that's the thing about being. I had the same conversation with a friend of mine, Oh, wow. Well, if you love for him to leave, that's a place to start because there's something about the company that's a bit compromising to the relationship. He said, "What kind of mom can you be? Being responsible and a good partner by putting his resume together, or even knowing what needs to be done." That's what I said too. With being with a man who's intimidated by pushing, intimidated by a woman who's going to push you. It was a video on TikTok too. I guess the girl asked her dad after the mother died or something like that, and she was like, "Was she the love of your?" She asked her dad, "Did you love her? Did you always love her? Was she always the love of your life or something like that?" And he was like, "No, I didn't love her, but I stayed with her because she pushed me to be a better person. She was always on my ass, guiding me in the right direction." Like Ghost. I say this too, like Ghost and Tasha and what was the other girl's name? The DA? The ADA? Angela. Um Tasha wasn't, she never pushed Ghost or encouraged Ghost to be anything than what she got with him for. She didn't care about him being a good father. She didn't care about him being a provider for the house. She wanted him to be the best drug dealer in the town. Meanwhile, Angela spoke to Ghost. Angela spoke to James St. Patrick, and Tasha spoke to Ghost. You want to be with somebody who speaks to you, not what you do. Respect too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I gathered. He respected the woman she was to encourage him to be the best man that he could be. In turn, I think, of course, there's a little love in that. Maybe he cheated. But that's the thing, too, about cheating is like, you're usually cheating with lower quality. Or, sex, which is like, she gets on my ass and I don't want to deal with that, but the sex is great. So there's different nuances to it. But 100% that father had respected that woman enough to raise the family and respected her enough to understand what she was doing for him as an individual, not doing for him as a woman in his life. Yeah, no, we're not gonna be reduced. We can't be reduced to motherhood. Cause what if we don't have kids? And so what if I can't have? What if you shooting blanks? And what if I'm barren? And no, there's no kids. Like what? What now? What now? Kids are simply a byproduct. See, kids could be accidents. And if you think I'm just home, and that's like, what is his even? What was his even? What was his mindset? Lashes and lip gloss. We getting into it. Jump right on in. I don't like kids enough. Um, what was his thought process when you're sitting here trying to make sure he's in line? Hey, Nurse Coco, make sure he's in line to find a job that he's happy about. What was in his thought process that thinks that doesn't qualify a woman to be a good mother? I'm responsible for you. What makes you think I'm not going to be responsible for these kids? Cocoa and lip gloss. I just posted a video where that guy with the two hairstyles, he said it's crazy that a woman can expect a man to be her father, but a man can't expect a woman to be his mother. That's where we're at. And, it's kind of morphing, but we're into what the expectation is in relationships or why people expect certain things in their relationships. And ultimately, we're at a point now in evolution is women are out here doing things. Lashes and I don't know y'all personally, but I'm speculating on the names. lashes and lip gloss. You got a boutique. You do makeup. You do the things. You know how to make your money. You know how to maintain yourself. Because you know how to make your money and maintain your, and Coco, I'm gonna get to you too. You know how to maintain yourself and make your money and set a standard. Both of you guys. Lash and lip gloss, you got the salon, you got the boutique, you do those things. Nurse Coco, you a nurse, you making the money, you put in the work. Both of y'all nurses. You put in the money, you make the money, you put in the work, you set the standard. If you're single, you have set a, you know your boundaries. If we're all, being healthy about things, you know your boundaries. This is what I'm used to. This is what I require. This is what I expect. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if, like I'm drawing from the video that I stitched, is that if my father did that, that's why I'm like this, and I'm not only fine with being single because nobody meets this, but these are my expectations because that is my experience with the men in my life. So that's that. Because anything less than what you experience or what you require for yourself is settling. Now, we don't settle. Even if it's for a nut or a buck, we're not settling. That's the thing. Women are winners. Women are out here winning. So for a man to expect a woman to be like his mother, who is coddling him, catering to him, rolling out the red carpet, as we said, and things like that, because she's trying to compensate for the fact that there's no father, or she may feel guilty, or whatever that type of thing is, that's not fair to project that on the women. As opposed to a woman, her expectations from a man, monetarily and as a partner, only make the man better. Not nuts and bugs, okay? You could definitely ask questions. The father sets the example. Yeah. A new question. I need to get my stand. Because my hands is like, yeah, actually I need to put my phone case back on. Maybe I just need to get out here. Yes. That's why, mainly not raised by women like I said, my father, but it was me and my sisters for a long time. Then I had a brother. Lots of my female cousins, stuff like that. We're in a real, we with it for real now. But that's what I mean by how you were raised is what you expect to project and, like what I say, expect to project and respect in the relationship. And if you've only seen women getting treated right with respect and reverence, you're only going to treat a woman quite right with reverence and respect. Yeah, natural reaction. Because that's all you know. Especially if the women were like, the women that you were around that got treated with respect carried themselves in a way that warranted that, you know what I'm saying? They weren't doing crazy things, putting you in compromising situations and things like that. But even in that aspect, that's the type of women that you would gravitate to. That's the type of women you would be comfortable around. So, it goes both ways. Like I said, the same thing with the dad. If you're raised by a father, we talk about dads who do good things. But if you're raised by a father who was abusive, mentally, physically, a father who didn't do too much, then you're gravitate towards that type of man because that was your experience. You're okay with him sitting around. You're okay with him putting his hands around. You're okay with him doing the bare minimum because that was your experience with men. And that's what I kind of feel like what he's saying from the video that I stitched is that I'm used to my mother doing these things. I need the woman to do the things like my mother. Well, I'm not your mother. I don't have the same experiences as your mother. I wasn't raised the same way as your mother. I don't got no kids to even have that type of mothering tactic. So I can't be your mother. But there's a woman out there that could be. Some of these men only have reference of how to treat women from toxic. Yeah. Yeah. Man raised by another man with no woman, if he's out here, womanizing and carrying on, that is what the son is going to pick up on. Women are disposable. They're there to meet these types of needs. I'm not saying that's every case, because some men are out here being very respectable, responsible. But the negative kind of takes is pretty a dominant behavior in that sense of I don't need to settle down. Why have one when you can have everyone? And that it's probably a man that don't clean his house, nasty bathrooms, dishes piling up because they live in that type of, that's what men do. Men are dirty, but there are men out here who are very clean and pass those things on to their kids as well. It depends on the person doing the changing. But the person who changes anybody, just like a therapist, has to be able to recognize and identify the issues and give you something in return. The biggest thing about that is the person who's getting recognized and identified has to be open to the idea that, one, what they're doing is not the norm per se, and two, that it could be better on the other side of how you decide to live your life. You have to be open. They have to be open to that. I agree. That's the whole, and that's the thing. People are not dating. You know what I mean? Dating is the process of getting to know you, getting to know all about you. I need to know as I continue, because that's the thing about watching and being a serial singlist. Knowing the things about somebody or people's backgrounds would better inform me of how I think the situation would go for me. You know what I mean? I have to know how you were raised, because these become the nuances of the things that create who you are, your character, builds your character. I need to know if your mother was struggling. I need to know if your father was present. I need to know if your grandmother, was a huge factor in your life. I need to know what your cousins did, how you spent your holidays and things like that, because then I'm not surprised. I'm open to, I can understand, or I completely am not on par. We're not yoked in that sense because of your experiences. I can't just be with you because you're handsome and you got good D or good ass. I can't be with you on those, because those things don't last, especially with somebody who, like me, like the collective, like my Lux London ladies and lads, think further, want more, do more. You know what I mean? I'm not just a leg. I got something to say. I'm thinking about something. I have an idea. I have a personality. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So you're not just going to screw me and do me. I need to be fulfilled in another way. So I have to know more than just what's behind the clothes. I need to know why your head is the way it is. Not the head, but your mind. I need to know how your mental, your psychological got to the point that it is right now. Not just the lay, I got something to say. I mean, y'all heard it here first. The mental is everything. It's absolutely everything. I mean, that's the thing about identifying. Those are the things that go with identifying your partner, your mate. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, I know if his mother did make his place, I know he likes to make his place. But his father taught him how to pull out my chair and open up my door and pay a bill. You know what I mean? So that's something, a give and a take. We're not doing no slave ships or no. Not that whole barefoot and pregnant mentality. We're not doing that. And if you are doing that, that's fine. Y'all heard it here first, so if y'all see it, y'all know. Because people be on the outskirts watching and then they be on their videos 2 days later. Now, how do you directly ask these questions? What would your approach to this question? You ask. You ask. First of all, I think, if you're interested in somebody, you just ask these questions. Uncomfortable questions, uncomfortable conversations make for better relationships, healthy relationships, or whatever the thing is. That's true. I shouldn't be, and that's the thing about it. It's like if I ask you a question, so tell me about your mom. You get to know, you get his response, you get his demeanor, you get these things, and if he's standoffish about that question, then you know where you stand with him. Because if he's interested in getting to know you, then these are the things that he's open to tell you. Vice versa, same thing with a woman. Tell me about your dad, tell me about your siblings, tell me about high school. You know what I mean? Those sorts of things. Hey, Arte, thank you for the love, babe. And if she's apprehensive about telling you these things, then you know where you stand with her. Because if she's open to get to know you, then she'll be open to share these things with you. Because you can, screw and move on, and that's fine, because most times we just need an itch scratched. But, you get confused with the itch scratched and the cuddling afterwards and then the dinner after that, and all those things are not synonymous. They all don't go together all the time. You either get one or the other, maybe 2 out of the 3, but all 3 make for a healthy relationship. Because at some point over dinner, and in the process of screwing, you know what I mean? That sort of thing, we're building a bond and we're getting to know each other more. I think. But these are the very reasons. These are the very reasons that I'm single. And you have to realize that because the things that make you you. Granted, you have to be open to other ideas, or open to somebody else. But it's like I said before, somebody said it's either my way or the highway. Because I'm self-aware, because fools are a dime a dozen, because nobody has ever given me the unlock something in my brain and was like, okay, you might be able to add something different. Yeah, it is my way or the highway. But if a new car that fits the mold comes down the damn block, I'm open to construction on the main road. Understand? But now I'm not settling, I'm not conceding. You know what I mean? I'm not getting in a relationship with somebody who wants to invite other people into the bedroom. I'm not getting into a relationship with somebody who has a hard time communicating anything. I'm not getting into a relationship with somebody who just sees me as a sex tool. I'm not getting into a relationship with somebody who, who doesn't provide anything to the relationship. I could have a wheel of lovers. I get what I want and I say goodbye. Tracy said I'm not interested in being in a relationship just for the sake of saying I'm in a relationship. I mean, that doesn't do anything for me. A lot of people find themselves in that situation just to say, oh, I got somebody. But look at the girls on Potomac, both Candace and Chris. Candace and Ashley. Sitting there like, oh, I got somebody. Candace, I'm married now. Meanwhile, all these things, true or not, well, your man is over here doing that. So what exactly does that mean to anything? What weight does that have when ultimately you end up looking like a fool because somebody's going to tell you about this man you got or this woman that you got? I'm not being in a relationship for the sake of saying, oh, look at me, or being in a relationship for the sake of complacency. It was complacency that killed the cat, you guys, not curiosity. Curiosity is healthy. It was complacency, sitting stuck and not expecting much and just taking what's given to you. That's the death of a nation. That's the death of a relation. Like I said, I shouldn't get tired of you in a marriage because you should always be growing. Your career should be developing, your personality should be developing, you should be getting to know me more, which affects how you move and do things. Same like, vice versa, No, right. Every relationship is in growth. You don't sit. You can't sit and expect the same things. You can't sit and expect the things from in 96 to be, you shouldn't expect the same things from 96 to be the same things you tolerate in 2026. We should have evolved from that point together. because you know, I think companionship is natural. The urge to seek companionship, I think, is a human experience. But companionship is not really settling if we're working together. You know what I mean? Enjoying each other's company, fruitful, meaningful conversations. Sex is really the icing on the cake if you're into that. But some people are not into that. You know what I mean? Some people want touch, whatever the love language is, that conversation and stuff like that. Or, you know, listen, support the page, support the channel. Double tap at the very least. I like gifts too. Subscribe, because definitely in the new year, I'm not putting out, I hate to sound like this. Subscribe to the channel, and then all this stuff keep going. But like I said, people be on the outskirts listening, and then they talk about it in the video, and I don't get no type of recognition. But that's the world we live in on social media and as a content creator. But that's beside the point. Show your love, support the channel. I appreciate it. But you know, that's what that is. All of this stems from the video I put out. Maybe you guys seen it. Maybe some of you have come in here. I said I was live talking about, guys, stitched the video where the guy said a woman, it's crazy to him that a woman can expect a man to emulate her father, but a man cannot expect his woman to emulate his mother. It all depends on the woman. It all depends on the mother and the father. And this is where we're coming from. This is the conversation that we're having. If the father if it's a two-parent household and the father is responsible and healthy and doing the things that need to be done, just for the basics, the bare minimum, providing, loving, nurturing, that sort of thing, there's nothing wrong with her expecting that from a man. Could encourage the man, but that's a different expectation from a woman, from a man who's raised by a single mother, who was like, oh, let me do this for him, let me do this for him, let me do this for him. Those expectations are different. Those things become problematic. But alternately, I said too, you're gonna find somebody. A girl spoiled by her daddy functions differently, because a girl spoiled by her daddy and expecting to be spoiled by other men has that damsel of distress-ishness about her, which attracts a man that wants to do and care for. But that's the thing too, is once you get out of the household where your father respects you as your daughter and wants to make sure that you're comfortable, you then fall, you get older and conduct yourself in a certain way. But then you find a man who has the money. Now you're living by his means because you're used to being treated this type of way. One, are you even voicing your opinion, expecting growth? Are you, you know what I'm saying, other than you're doing something for me? Or are you walking over this man to a point that you're not even romantically attracted to him, but he does these things for you? I try to spread it out because it can't just be about the single mothers and sons. I mean, because it goes both ways. Because women are out here cheating, women are out here gold digging, women are out here, manipulating men, and that happens. So I like to spread it all out. But you have to, if you find that's what works for you, that's gonna work for you. But I don't think it's fair the same way. I just don't think it's fair, that expectation of, I'm gonna bleed you dry because I'm used to bleeding my daddy dry, or because, you know what I mean? But if the daughter got a flat tire and she called her dad, and the dad come at the drop of a hat, if I'm with you, if we screwing and we in a relationship or things, because you can't go expecting everything from everybody. That's why you shouldn't be doing it and giving everything to everybody. But if we'd been in a relationship and carrying on and doing the things, and I'm doing the things, if I get a flat tire or I need gas money, it shouldn't be no problem for me to ask you to come help me in my flat tire or give me some gas money. I should never be hungry. That sort of thing. And that's just I feel like that's standard. I don't care if you're a traditionalist, I don't care if you're Gen Z, that's standard. other than a man, with a man raised by the woman. I shouldn't be expected. Is this where it's at? Because somewhere I'm in a hiccup. I have to talk it out. But the expectation from a man on a woman who's raised by his mother, cooking and cleaning, things gonna be done because my mother always had things done, and I'll just sit back because something will be done. I don't think that's different than if I got a flat tire, you should come and help. Because then too, if I can't call you for a flat tire, then what am I ever calling you for? And if the expectation is that if your expectation is always going to have dinner ready for you, then what else do you, besides cook you dinner, what else do you need from me? Or what else am I even getting out of this? If all that makes sense, that's the layout. I'm dealing with king complex now. Is that your man has a king complex? What you mean by that? What's the situation? What's the situation? Why you say you're dealing with a king complex? But I've said too, there's somebody for everybody, because there's a woman who don't mind cooking and cleaning because that's where she feels comfortable. There's a man that don't mind paying and doing the things because that's how he feels wanted. Blakely Hay. So I mean, you have to find that person for you, and I'm not speaking against that, because if that's what works for the people, that's what works for the people. Like I said, we've developed into this full conversation here, but I was just simply wanting to respond to that video, which leads to this type of conversation, because it's not, every situation is different. Every situation is different. Like I said, he was coming from a place of, I need my woman to do all the things my mother did as a single mother. Because why would you even want me? First of all, why would you want me? That's what some of the white guys say, on TikTok. Why would you want a woman that you love and want to care for to be out here doing all the things? You should want her to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You should want her to be comfortable. Different from her expecting that level of comfort from you. You know what I'm saying? You love her, you care for her. You should want her to be, you shouldn't want her breaking her back, laundry, cooking, kids, working, and you shouldn't want, as a woman, you shouldn't want your man to be out here doing the things you need him to do and not doing what you need to do to make those other things easier to handle, to manage. It's not, the 50s need to be in a partnership. How'd I get so, in my experience in life, I've always been an old soul, but it's definitely my life experiences and just being aware. Being aware, I think it started when I realized that a lot of my friends, a lot of people around me came from separate households, split families, and my mind just started to go from there. This was years of high school, but I've always been, and also, Arte, I just, it's not the 50s. You need to be, hello in Virginia. It's not need to be in a partnership. The partnership, we need to be on the same page, and that creates the partnership. But if we're not on the same page, then we're not in anything serious. I can't be limiting myself or waiting for you to change. That's why I said they have to be open to change. You can be exactly what the person needs, but if they're not open to change, like Giselle, I try to see everything. It's not going as fast as it usually is, or as it's been before. So I try to respond to everybody. Amari Posa. I've already, because I've been, how long I've been on? An hour and 25 minutes. Thank you, they're fake. I'm just here to check out what you're about to say about this. I'm married and I have both parents. Um, Married and from both parents, if your parents were working together, then you're looking, this is what I said, is like you would be looking for someone, a partner, somebody who you could share the experience or share the load with. You're not looking for a freeloader unless that was your experience in your two-parent household. Because you only, what I said, y'all, expect, respect, and project from your past experiences or how you were raised in your relationships. I'm from New York. We both work, but I'm doing housewife work with a full-time job and a side hustle. I'm trying. Well, what are you trying to do? Doing all that if he just is working one job and you're doing three different things. Like, how are y'all? Listen here. I don't promote breakups. I just promote self-awareness and respect of self in my singledom. Because I'm not going to be doing three things and then you make me feel like I'm not doing enough because you feel inadequate. When ultimately, if I'm out here happy with the things that I'm doing, besides maybe that housework stuff, but if I'm working a full-time job because that's what people need to do, and what you're doing a side hustle because I aspire for more, because I have a 5-year plan, I can't be with somebody who's not encouraging of that and supportive of me and my growth, my personal growth. Well, and that's, I think too, I've had my grandparents, I've had the privilege and the honor of knowing some grandparents and great-grandparents in my 34 years. And I think that has played a part too in my understanding and my perception and stuff like that. And then truly, because people repeat actions and that's what I'm saying, like when he says, highway, it's either your way or the highway. This came from somebody I had been dealing with maybe 10 years. And that's his statement, it's either your way or the highway. And if you don't know that by now, after 10 years, then this is the reason why you'll never get on the road. But this is the very reason you'll never get on the road. And I'm all right in the one-way lane. This is why and I'm not an advocate for staying together. We hear with the Kelly Collective, okay? I'm not an advocate for staying together for the kids, because watching parents, and that's the thing too about growing up in, like, every situation is different. Your two-parent household, that don't mean the father's doing what he needs to be doing. That don't mean the mother's doing exactly what needs to be done. That doesn't mean the relationship or the dynamic in the household is conducive to create upstanding quality. I'm not saying your kids are not upstanding or quality, but staying together for the sake of the kids can, they're picking up on energy. And now when they get older, they're open to or receptive to the idea, that's what I'm saying, respect, expect, and project. That, it's okay if we're not speaking, you know what I mean? Because that's how I was raised. It's okay if we argue all the time because that's how I was raised. Those types of expectations, those don't create healthy relationships. And kids would benefit better from, well, first off, you have to be able to co-parent. That's it. That's most important. But your kids see you, now you got the load, you got your one kid, I'm not saying break up the family, but you have your one kid, it's manageable. You have the time because you relieve yourself from the pressure of meeting his standards or expectations, and you are more free to live your life. Your child will benefit better from you being you, happy, doing the things that make you happy. Because to build self-sufficient children, don't build children to be sufficient in a relationship. And a child that sees his parent happy only will want happiness for themselves, and only attract people that are willing to bring them happiness too, because that's what they're used to. Marriage is a business. And if your father ain't putting your husband in a business, or if his mother and you ain't starting the seamstress business, there's no reason to sit there or walk down the aisle. Okay, you can love somebody, and that's fine, but it's ritualistic and law-abiding, and none of that got to do with love. If y'all want to do something together, get an LLC. Mary Posada, what you said? 40 years of marriage you think is the food? And all of that is hard, easier said than letting go of somebody, recognizing, but you have to understand it. I think the thing that'll help is, the best way to get over is to get under, but also recognizing the pattern. This is what he'll do if, speaking to Lash, this is what he does when he needs to do something right. This is what he does when he he's been wrong. And then he get back in and then he do the same damn things, just like, okay, now hold on now. You know what I mean? I'm just sharing, over here at the collective. We come here for my opinions or whatever. But, and that you have to recognize that you're worth more than that. And I tell my friend, I said, listen, the baddest bitches, perfection that you barely, if you ever even meet perfection, you find what works for you, and that's not perfect, because what is perfection? But I said the baddest bitches don't have no man, don't have no steady man, and the bitches who are at the top pay for dick, and the bitches who are at the top really don't have no man that are exactly on their level. We're not talking about no goddamn celebrities, because that's a matter of business, okay? But if I'm out here shucking and jiving and doing the things, and even still, let's say, okay, so we nursing, young nurses. I'm not going to go into you nursing, so you doing your job. You know what I'm saying? You got the schedule, you got your patients, you got your order, you got your things. You either need another nurse, or somebody who bears the same responsibilities, or somebody who is just as busy as you. With those situations, there's no you passing. You know what I mean? Because you're either working this or working that, and we passing the night. There's no constant calling. So now we're getting out of that conventional sense of, I need to call you in these, because we busy. You know what I mean? We're doing what we do. And that's where romantic attraction and appreciation for the individual comes in, because that when we do spend time together, we're divulging and enveloped in each other, because this is the time we have while we respectively do the things that we do. That's how that works when you find somebody on the same level. Other than that, you might be with somebody who's resentful, and so women don't want to be with nobody who's lesser than, because they think they need somebody on the same level. When honestly, when people keep going back to somebody, the same person, it's because you're familiar, one, and two, you want the cuddling and the what's the word? The cuddling and the cutesy stuff of the relationship. When you could get that from a man who probably don't work the same type of job that you do, but he got to make all this money, or he has to do these things, when he's going to bring you the compassion and the love and everything like that that you require. The sugar. I'm just saying,
I'm just saying. And even a man, well, I just needed to be able to cook and clean and, just keep, my underwear or whatever, that sort of thing. But maybe you shucking and a jiving. You know what I'm saying? Now she has an opinion. And then she done gave you some insightful information. And now you could level up because this is what your wife or your girlfriend has said to you. Now you realize that the benefits of who this individual is, and not just so much the benefits of what this individual does. But it's definitely, all harder, easier said than done. And it is because you want things that, as I'm saying, like if I never get to the point of talking to you to understand your family dynamic, then I don't even know if you're capable of doing the things that I'm looking for. If you don't tell your parents I love you, then I'm hard pressed to get an I love you from you, because that's just not how, you know what I'm saying? That's not your, and only if he meets a certain standard of you are you willing to give him that time to even try to get that response from him, and vice versa, women too. But he has to have done something. No, yeah, if I could speak to my younger self. Message to my younger self is don't give a fuck. But that's a separate situation. Because love feels nice because the love in a romantic sense feels nice because it's different than anything else. It's not work, it's not your friends, it's not your parents. You know what I mean? It feels very personal. And you want to feel that, and you want to associate most people that you come in contact with that experience. But oftentimes, in a relationship, or when you first start meeting somebody, or even you've been with somebody forever, the situation and the expectations are one-sided. Like, he expects this from me, and she expects this from him. That sort of thing. When it's not like we'll do this together. We are in this together. We are definitely designed to feel emotions 100%. But like Tina said, what's love got to do with it when you don't respect me? What's love got to do with it when you beat me? What's love got to do with it when you belittle me? You know what I mean? What's love got to do with it when you when you won't even do a simple request that I ask of you? What's love got to do with it when you don't consider me? That's a one-sided situation. It's like, oh my God, I love him because, he gave me money for my nails. And the girl he out here giving everybody good morning text. And also too, women accept, the bare minimum. Just for the simple, the presence of. I want to say presence ain't got no prominence. I had a hard time with the presence thing. Nothing to do with the past. 100%. You can't be apologetic, especially when you're, and that's the thing, was it yesterday? I think I've been on live 3 days. I don't know. Was it yesterday? I think I was on live twice. And I was saying, Kanye West, not to bring up Kanye West, but Kanye West is he's a selfish, self-centered, self-enveloped he's all into that. In that spirit of being focused on you, there's nothing that he can't say that's focused on him that you can't apply to yourself and be just as great. So if I function in the world, if I'm showing up in the world as somebody who is trying to make sure I'm good, I can't be apologetic for the moves I make if it doesn't meet that person's standard. Like I said, that's the thing about romance and respect, is that the person should identify that in you, respect you from it, and grow to love you, because I'm continually evolving. And you know what I mean? Yeah, that girl, oh Lord. I'll be forgetting, what do I say? Because the lag, what did I say? If I'm focused on myself, to make myself better, if I like this type of lifestyle and I work to maintain this lifestyle, if I have these dreams and I do these things to execute those dreams, I can't apologize for my go-gettedness or selfishness because I don't meet your expectations of what you think your partner should look like. I can't apologize for that, and you might have to move on. You should never dumb yourself down or belittle yourself to meet somebody's standard who is dumbed down and belittled. Sorry for you. And I mean, listen, I'll call you on a Saturday when I'm free. And that's the thing too. And let me tell you, my experience as men, but my experience as men, but it's all been men, because my teachings have been from women. That's been my friends, my sister, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Kind of, this, you know what I'm saying. Occasionally, I get the straight man conversation and stuff like that. But even still, sometimes in conversations with men, which they're kind of a lot more open. And that's the thing too, you just have to talk to men. What I may say, I don't want to be offensive, but it's eye-opening. Like, okay, well, this is why you do this, because of that. And you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Is that what I was saying? Men, you got to communicate. And if we're not communicating, if I'm cautious to have the conversation with you, if I'm scared to tell you what my 5-year plan is, and scared of what your response may be, whether you laugh or dismiss it, or whether you don't even acknowledge it, that's all the same thing. Then we might not be. This can't be. Oh, that's what I was saying. This might not be the thing. A woman who said men don't like being done the same way they do people. If she only calls him on Saturday, that's the same thing with the guy who said, it's either your way or the highway. You don't have nothing to provide for me. So if I call you on a Saturday because I need something that is the only something that you have to give to me, now you may be able to give the world to somebody else's form of the world. But as for me, the way that we have connected only requires me to reach out to you on an as-needed basis. But men don't like that. Alternately, women absorb that, take that in, and then create this whole thing behind that. But that's not your quintessential relationship, That's not a partnership. That's barely even a situationship, because a situationship is we together but we not committed. Who's Tia? And that's a matter of business, but yeah, I mean, you got to live your life. You have to live your life for you, because it's only you. I don't wish death, and I don't promote violence. But if this partner that I've been committed to and conditioned to myself by their means goes away, either it goes into the ground or goes to somebody else, then what am I left with? Who am I then? You should never want to consider who would I be then. You could always be you all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm all about a relapse when it's on my terms. Call you on a Saturday night, you out by Sunday morning. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Boundaries. Because knock the dust off and let me get back to doing the things I need to do. Because we don't have the intimacy of sitting around and being, cuddling or cooking together or watching a movie and things like that. There's that level of intimacy is not there. That's a realization to understand too. And it's like, okay, well, sex and intimacy is not the same thing. They're two completely separate things, because you can have intimacy and not have the physical act of intercourse. And just because you have intercourse, that don't mean y'all are intimate together. Because Somebody's always thinking about something else. You call him up and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see you. And he'd be like, well, shit, I couldn't wait to get this off. You know what I mean? And vice versa, because that happens with women. Women do the same thing. Because there are some men who are down to be with the woman because whatever her body liked, because of however her mother raised her or whatever. I think that's the thing too with women who are raised by men. Function in this masculine essence, you know what I mean? That it's just like men can be disposable. I don't mind breaking hearts because that's just, you know, how they were raised. So men be out here looking crazy too. I hate the word simp because whatever that is. But men be out here like, you know, oh, I just wanted to come over, you know, oh, she comes and sees me, you know, that she's turned a new leaf. But she's like, you know, I just, you know, he got the good dick, so I go over friend with a good dick, but I'm leaving because I have to go, or I'm going to do something else. Or, you know, so it goes both ways, and I try to touch on both things. I'm not a man basher, but I am an encourager of women. Like I said before, if it weren't for women, we wouldn't even be sitting here. I wouldn't be here before you, and y'all wouldn't be here before me. So how can you not give the power to the women? I mean, it takes two to tango, yes. But men was tangoing for a long time by themselves, and that's how homosexuality became a law. Or a judgment, not even a law, because men was tangoing by themselves. But it took a woman to bring life into the nation. But meanwhile, women are always trying to be boxed in and need to be damsels and all that stuff. And it's just like, no. Because I think too, just like a man, a man is a great male figure, a great in whatever way, great male figure, positive male influence on your child is beneficial for the development of a human being. I feel the same way about a woman who is empowered and not willing to fall into a standard or a stereotype or even be conditioned to feel like, you know, this is what you need to, these things qualify you to be a woman. That is powerful as well too. For shit, everybody. And that's why women, you know, I want to say that's why women don't run the world now. And I'm going to stand by that because we're in a patriarchy. The lengths at which women have to go to, Queen Elizabeth, Kamala Harris, Kathy Hochul, Nancy Pelosi, Margaret Thatcher, they don't even rule like real women because it is a patriarchy. What would it be, a matriarchy? If women was running this situation, it would be a completely different vibe. Because women who are in power leadership now usually have that undercurrent of some type of male influence or a bit of disconnect from the female experience because they wanted to dominate in a male space. That's what I said too about overturning Roe v. Wade. It was a room full of people. Okay, so let's say I'm a Gemini, so I'll be thinking and talking. Let me just say this. Roe v. Wade's overturned. Okay, it's a room full of women and men that sitting overturn that thing. Did no women stand up and say, this is not something that we're doing? Say the room is just full of men making that decision. Didn't no secretaries, their wives, hold out, like, stop, protest? Didn't none of that happen? You know what I mean? Didn't none of that happen to overturn this situation of controlling women's bodies? It was okay and acceptable. Women didn't want to ruffle feathers, and women probably didn't want to lose their jobs or whatever. But that's the thing about being a part of the patriarchy, being the ability to be controlled and conditioned. But that was the thought for me. It's like, okay, so didn't none of the wives say, you sound dumb as hell trying to do something like that? Didn't none of the secretaries say, oh, I can't be a part, I can't work here, I can't do it. Did none of the women in office say, we're going to hold out, this is a filibuster, we're not going to allow anything like that? Did none of that happen? It just came to pass and passed. That's the thing about being in the patriarchy. Things like that wouldn't even be a conversation, I don't think, because it's not even about religion or anything like that. Speaking of abortions, it's about the personal experience. And I think a woman's a woman, you know what I'm saying, who's experienced things, or just respect, not feminist, but just respect the individual experience of a woman. It's like, ultimately we're not going to tell her what she can do with her body. So this is never even an option. It would never even have been a Roe v. Wade if women were running the show. It wouldn't even be a topic of conversation, I don't think. But that's not the situation that we live in. And fucking Nancy Pelosi is, stand up for women. No, even Oprah's ass. Not only is she not for the blacks, she do the things to maintain her presence amongst men. That's why issues with men and homosexuality and even diseases and sicknesses like HIV and cancer are such big tickets because they bring in the most money. They're issues that everybody at some point or another will experience. Everybody's got somebody who's gay. Everybody goes with somebody who's black. Everybody knows somebody who had cancer. You might identify with somebody who, sick, or that sort of thing. So if we form these groups around these people, we begin to funnel and shuffle in this money, always HIV, millions and billions of dollars into that, cancer is millions and billions of dollars into that, women issues from the I've always wondered why the hell I got to look. And that's like women, how women shall not. It's a tampon commercial. Every damn 2 seconds they want to tell about a damn tampon commercial. Panties and this and always plastered all over the television because women are the #1 consumers. How you don't reclaiming my time? How you don't reclaim nothing from that? And yet fall into this category of subservientness or whatever. It's like you are fucking in control of this. You're in control of the television. Tell me how. Money, running. Women stop buying things. Black people and women stop buying things. I say for a week, it should have changed. If they did it for a month, it would be groundbreaking. And if they did it for a year, the whole course of history would shift. What they call it, the paradigm would be completely different. But that's not the reality that we live in. But imagine if it was. Imagine if it was. See, that's the thing about the collective. We go from relationships to who run the world, Who run the world, girl? But I think I came on to say everything I had to say. I think. Like I said, I was sitting there trying to formulate a response to the stitch. I was like, I'm just gonna go live and see what the people say. Because I can't, there's just so many ways. There's so many ways to address that type of mindset or that type of topic in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes and not be able to edit that damn video. It's so stupid. But ultimately it's about respect, and everything starts in the home. Everything starts in the home. And that's why you have to be more readily responsible for the things around you than anything that you may see media-wise on the TV, newspaper, and things like that. If you focus on what's happening right here, right in your space, the things that affect you directly, things will be a lot better. In the spirit of proper, respectable, functioning human beings. With that just being the foundation, not like my kids should, my kids need to, I expect this, you know. Yeah. Yeah. The home is definitely the foundation. It's the first time you experience a lot of things, you know. Yeah, the first time you experience, your first experiences happen in the four walls that you develop in. It allows you to be able to handle the things that happen once you leave those four walls. Respect. That's what I say. At the very least, you don't need to raise your son to cut grass or cook dinner. But if you raise him to be a gentleman, and maybe those things come with, at the very least, cutting dinner, because you don't have to cut grass. And I tell you, I used to cut grass growing up, and I'm not moving nowhere where I got to cut no grass. And even when I do get me the big white house and the picket fence, somebody gonna come cut the grass. Maybe he'll cut the grass, and that's gonna be his judge. But I'm not cutting no more grass. But cooking dinner is self-sufficient. But if you raise him to be respectable and productive, he gets a job, he could eat out. So that's not even so much a requirement either. Women looking for men who don't want to cook. You know what I mean? So then, we find a place to do the things. But if he doesn't, he's a gentleman. He's okay pulling up in the car, opening the door, paying for the meal. But he should want to find a woman that might want to go Dutch, might want to cook. You know what I mean? Just to even out the load. Because if he's a gentleman, he's not looking for a damsel. And he's not disrespecting of a woman who is dynamic. You know what I mean? Just works her job, has the, aspires to do something else, doesn't have an interest in being the damsel. Doesn't need to be saved. I had to tell a friend of mine that too. I was like, every girl you meet isn't looking for a Prince Charming. You know what I mean? They're just looking for a good man. They don't need to be swept off their feet. They just want to be heard, seen, and respected. And ultimately, every man ain't looking for a chef. Just be, used to, it's just like, it all depends where you at. Like Jeff Lewis, I don't know if y'all know who Jeff Lewis is, but he always talks about eating out. Loves to eat out, always eating out, from Taco Bell to the fanciest places. But you would be like, okay, you make all this money, why do you eat out? Understanding him, his parents are always working, they always ordered in. He's got a taste for outside food. He's got a taste for immediate meals. That's how he was raised. At 50-something years old, the man. Always talking about going to fucking binging on one restaurant for a certain period of time, then moving on to another fast food restaurant, that sort of thing. Jeff got a bunch of money, okay? Loves Taco Bell. But if you don't understand where he came from, you wouldn't understand why he is the way he is. And subsequently, the same man, I seen a video, was like, bro, that shit make pasta. But if you come from a thing like my mother, always cooking, always always making meals. You get a man who came from that sort of situation, then no, he's not fine with McDonald's every day, and he's not fine with one standard meal. I'm not saying you need to elevate your cooking, but you could consider at least his favorite dish and try to work on it if you care, if things is working out the way things need to be working out. I think, a good relationship is about not even compromise, but just about the understanding of who you have, who you're dealing with, who you want to be with, who you respect, who you love. That's the thing about the damn Jewish people. Charlotte converted, learned how to make challah bread, You know what I mean? Things like that. She loved Harry, and Harry loved her. I don't know if they're gonna make it in this new season of And Just Like That, because Charlotte always been beside herself in her ideals. But that's a separate conversation. That's a separate conversation. But I think I'm gonna head out. Hopefully